Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sportsbook Review's coverage of La Liga Primera. I'm your host, Martin Green. I have Matt Clark from La Liga Lowdown and Junior Browne alongside me. We're looking forward to previewing week 5 of action in La Liga. Interesting start to the season. Some big teams languishing near the top of the table, and things are getting exciting. We're going to start breaking down the games in a minute, but first, just a little reminder to please give us a thumbs up. We've got 4 thumbs up already, so please let's add to that tally over the next half hour or so. Subscribe to the channel, click on that notification bell, and when you're done, head on over to sportsbookreview.com, the best website on the internet, full of lots of picks, lots of advice, betting calculators, odds comparison service where you can find the best lines on every single game. So do that, but first, please do listen to us break down these games. We're going to start with Celta de Vigo up against Cadiz. Big Friday night game. Could be an entertaining match. Celta are often involved in lots of high-scoring games, Matt, whereas Cadiz are a bit more of a defensive side, I think. How do you see this Friday night fixture panning out?
Yeah, I think it's an important game for both sides. Neither of them have got a win on the board yet, so they're kind of towards the bottom. And I think for Celta in particular, they would have expected a better start. So I think there's a kind of a sense they need to kickstart their season with a home win tonight. And I would say they should be favourites. They won this fixture 4-0 last season, and I think Chacho he'd bite your hand off if you offered him that scoreline tonight. So I think they'd be favourites going into it. Although, as you say, Cadiz, they're quite a strong side and they can kind of chisel out a result if they need to. So it could be a stodgy one, but if Celta get going, I think they could be a bit free flowing.
A stodgy one, I like that. And it's 2 teams near the bottom of the table, kind of an early season relegation battle. Although I don't expect to see Celta down there towards the end of the season. Junior, do you think one of these teams stands out as more likely to go on and win it?
Yeah, I've actually got Celta -1 in this fixture for a lot of the reasons Matt just mentioned. It would be hard to imagine them. With considering their aspirations, it would be hard to imagine them not pulling out a result at home in this contest, because if they didn't, I would be quite concerned moving forward. Obviously, they've had some defensive issues, but going forward, they still look like the Celta of last season. And I think if they can just shore up things at the back, they should be able to pull out a result here. So that's why I've gone with Celta, because they just... it's too early to say desperation, but anytime you're in a relegation zone after a few fixtures, you've got to get things going. Even the one draw they had, they were kind of lucky to get that. I feel so. They really got to get things started, and I think that this is the fixture that they'll do it.
Yeah, a golden opportunity to get back to winning ways for them at home against the struggling Cadiz team. Big Friday night game. I agree with you there. I think they can get it done. Okay, next up we have newly promoted Rayo Vallecano against just an absolutely woeful Getafe side these days. A couple of years ago, Getafe were going great guns. It's all fallen apart for them. They are also at the bottom of the table, 4 defeats out of 4 games so far. What do you think, Junior? Can Getafe get their first win of the season, or is it going to be newly promoted Rayo that could seize the day?
I actually like Getafe in this matchup. Not enough to invest my money in them, but gun to my head, it would be Getafe, because Getafe are at least creating chances. They're not taking the chances that they're creating, but I kind of try to judge teams in these situations are they creating chances? Is there something to be optimistic? Because four fixtures is not enough to say they're definitely one thing or the other. Whereas Rayo, so far anyways, I'm not going to overreact to their win over Granada, because Granada's defense could be the worst in the league. It looks that way so far. And other than that game, they've looked like a relegation side to me. Their defense looks very, very leaky at the back. So I do fancy Getafe, but I do not have a play on this game.
Okay, thank you, Junior. Matt, tell us about the emotions you went through with Rayo Vallecano last weekend. You had both teams to score late, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was 93rd minute. They got the equaliser. They fully deserved it, though. I'm going to disagree, Junior, slightly. I'm sorry to do that, but I've been quite impressed with Rayo. I think they had a very impressive win over Granada. I know you said the defence is a bit of a caveat for that. But against Levante, I thought they were the better team, certainly for the second half. And they were building and building that pressure. And eventually they got the breakthrough. And you could see what it meant to the coaching staff. They were celebrating and hugging each other. It was a really kind of a big moment. And they can kind of take that momentum on into what is a Madrid derby. And it's a really big one because, you know, some people might not realise, but Getafe, there's a lot of pressure on Michel now. They've started the season with those 4 defeats. They've only scored the 1 goal. Yes, they've had chances. And I know I said a couple of weeks ago, their performance against Barcelona was encouraging. But last week, it really wasn't that. And they kind of fell pretty insipidly to a defeat again at home. So for me, I think Getafe really need the result, but I'm not sure they're going to get it. And Rayo fans are kind of optimistic with the arrival of Falcao, who was presented this week. They were queuing around 3 sides of the stadium just to get in and see him being presented. So there's a kind of real optimism around them at the moment. And I think they will certainly avoid defeat in this game.
Wait to see Falcao back in action. Wonder if we get the Falcao that starred for Atletico Madrid, or perhaps the Falcao that didn't star for the subsequent teams that he played for. Shout out to the chat. Hello, Suresh. Hello, Brown Magic. Tevin is saying that Athletic Bilbao is playing very well. Yeah, they sure are. Barcaman's going for Celta to win and under 3.5 goals at plus 108. Like that. Chief Wiggum has moved from North Korea. He's now in Kabul, Afghanistan, and he says he's a huge fan of Junior. So you got a huge fan there, Junior. I'm not sure he's actually in Kabul, though, sadly. Who else have we got? Jay Rio, we bet for all. Sure do, mate. Sure do. Great. Oh, Brown Magic thinks a red card is incoming in Arsenal's match. Now, Arsenal going to win that hands down. No worries whatsoever. Okay, big game. Big game. Atletico Madrid versus Athletic Bilbao. Wow. I thought Atleti were pretty lucky, to be honest, in the Champions League in midweek. I don't see how Porto's goal was disallowed. Thought they could have easily slumped to a 1-0 defeat, but it was a pretty sort of tepid game in terms of chances. The sort of game you kind of imagine from a team like Atleti. Bilbao aren't the most attacking or ambitious side either, Matt. Do you think we're going to see a low-scoring game when these two meet?
I think so. Yeah, as you touched on, I thought they were lucky in midweek. And that's 2 home games in a row now without a win for Atleti. There was that crazy 2-2 draw with Villareal when they only just got a point in the last minute with that crazy Mandy own goal, which Emery was kind of tearing his hair out about. So, yeah, I think they're a bit... I still think they've got the best squad in the league, but I think at the moment Simeone is just trying to find the best combination of players, particularly in attacking areas, to try and make it all kind of slot together. He's tried Suarez with Griezmann, and then he left Griezmann on the bench for the Champions League game. It just seems to be chopping and changing quite a lot. Just can't quite find his best team at the moment, I don't think. So I think there's a chance here for Athletic Club to get something out of the game. I do agree. I think it will be a low scorer, and I wouldn't even write off a 0-0 to be quite honest.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, Athletic Club have had an extra few days of rest, Junior, because they weren't in action in midweek, whereas Atleti had quite a grueling game, it seems, against Porto. Think they can go to Madrid and get a result?
I do. I actually have a Bilbao double chance, excuse me. For a lot of the things that you guys have mentioned, I think that Atleti have not looked as good as their current position in the table. They were obviously very lucky against Espanyol. Villareal, that was a cagey matchup. Were they impressive against Elche? I mean, Elche didn't really create any chances, but you wouldn't really expect it against Atleti anyways. And Elche had the majority of the possession, not by much, but I feel that, like Matt mentioned, I think Simeone is still trying to figure out what is his best side. Obviously, he's a coach that likes to put players in all kinds of different positions. 1 minute, Carrasco's a forward. The next minute, he's a left back. So, you know, it's gonna take a while before he settles in. But I just think the way that Bilbao look at the moment, with Williams getting in on the goals, them being dangerous from set pieces, Munain looks like he's in great form as well. Matt, gave us a bit of a preview of Williams' brother, who looks like he comes off the bench and offers something as well. I think everybody in the Athletic Club, in Bilbao's team is playing well. I really don't see any weak links from them. So I actually changed my bet from Bilbao outright to double chance, just because I didn't want to get too carried away. Still have to respect the champions. They have been lucky, but you could also just say that's the heart of a champion. They fight till the end, and that's been a hallmark of a Simeone team anyway. But I really, really fancy Bilbao in this fixture.
No, I like that a lot, Junior, because you're getting plus money on Athletic Club and the draw. When they're unbeaten so far this season, they're more rested. Yes, they're the away team, but no, I think they've got a good shot at getting a point there at least, because Atleti do drop a lot of points over the course of the season, and like you both said, they are still trying to find the right formula with the squad that Simeone has at his disposal. Okay, that sounds like a fascinating game. I'm not really feeling the excitement for this game, I must admit. Elche versus Levante. Elche languishing in mid-table, a win, 2 draws so far from 4 games. Levante, 3 draws and a defeat, so they're going to be looking for their first win of the season. I kind of feel like Levante are the better team, but they're on the road. They haven't really been turning it on so far this campaign. Got anything for this one, Junior?
Nothing for me. Don't know who these sides are, especially Levante. They can explode for 3-4 goals, or they can, squander a number of opportunities. They don't really seem to have too much luck on their side as well at the moment. Whereas Elche's had a tough start to the season, going up against Sevilla, who I thought they actually did pretty well against. And like I said, they didn't really create too many chances against Atletico, but it's not like Atletico played them off the park either. So if anything, I would lean Elche just because they're at home and they've looked the better side so far. Doesn't mean they are the better side, but I have nothing on this game. That would be my lean, if anything.
All right, thanks, Junior. Shout out to Derek on the chat. What's up, Derek? Silvio is asking, where are the picks? Where are the picks? We read out the picks at the end, Silvio. We give you our analysis first, and then we bring up the picks and we read them out. Okay, Matt. Can you sell this game to me? Try and make me excited about Elche versus Levante.
Well, for a start, this is another kind of regional derby, both in the Valencian community, so there might be a bit of added spice with that. Again, Elche, as we mentioned, Getafe were poor. Elche were the winners over them on Monday, so they're coming off a little bit of positive momentum. Junior rightly mentioned their performance against Sevilla was very encouraging too. And again, I think under Fran Escribá, he kept them up last year and people were writing them off, and they've written them off again, but they've started with a fairly decent points tally so far. And they're coming up against a Levante side that must be short on confidence, because they've dropped 6 points already this season from winning positions after conceding goals after the 80th minute. So Levante, even if they're 1-0 up heading into the last 10, I still wouldn't be confident they're going to see it out. So for that reason, yeah, I quite fancy Elche could sneak it. But again, it is a tough one to predict this one.
All right, thanks, Matt. Brown Magic's asking for a winning parlay. I told him Arsenal and Real Madrid. Think we got a chance? We're going to come on to Real Madrid later. Nah.
Half a chance. Half a chance.
Half a chance. Go to Turf Moor and beat the mighty Burnley. I think they can get it done. I think Real Madrid could get it done against Valencia, but we shall see. We move on to Alaves versus Osasuna. Once again, none of the big guns, as you would say, in Spanish football. Alaves rock bottom of the table, 3 defeats out of 3 so far. Osasuna, things are looking a lot better, really. Only 1 defeat out of their 4 matches thus far. What do you expect to see from this one, Matt?
I think we're going to see quite a physical game. I think these are kind of 2 sides that like to kind of get involved, get stuck in with the challenges, and Alaves will try and play their football, but I think Osasuna will effectively disrupt that. And Osasuna are more of a direct side, so they could kind of play on the counter and sort of sucker punch Alaves. As you say, they're bottom of the table. They have played 1 game less because that was a postponed match last weekend. But of course, that was against Villareal, so there was no guarantee they would have got anything there. Osasuna, yeah, they had a really impressive win last time they were on the road, that late win over Cadiz. But then they kind of got a bump down to earth last week with that kind of 4-1 hammering from Valencia. So, yeah, they'll be concerned they conceded 4 at home. But I do think they probably should be the stronger side in this fixture.
Okay, thanks, Matt. I see a question in there from JP Lambert, but I don't understand what the question is. Please elaborate, and we'll see if we can answer that one for you. Hi to Marco. Okay, Junior, got any insight on this one? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think that Alaves' problem is where the goal's coming from. If I'm not mistaken, they don't have a goal from open play this season, so. Clearly, that's a problem. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm actually growing more fond of Osasuna every time I see them play. I know they didn't play well against Valencia, but I just think Valencia are rolling right now. Literally, Valencia's 4 best players are looking like they're at the peak of their powers right now. So, it's hard to condemn Osasuna for that loss. I thought they were very unlucky not to get a win against Celta. And the thing that I like about Osasuna in these kind of situations is that their counterattack is very, very dangerous. They seem to create a lot of chances, and I don't see why they can't pull a result. Now, again, it's not enough for me to put my money on it, but if you're asking me which side do I fancy out of the two, it's got to be the team that is creating tons of chances, looks like they have fight, as opposed to the team that still has yet to pull the ball in the back of the net. Although, like Matt did mention, they do have 1 fewer match played than the rest of the league. They've got to get some open play goals to get their confidence back, because their defense hasn't looked great either. It's been okay. It hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been enough to rely on with the current goal drought they're experiencing.
Okay, thanks, Junior. Yeah, nothing for me either on this one. We're going to move on to Mallorca versus Villareal. This looks like a fascinating game in prospect, because Mallorca have made a very strong start to the season. 2 wins and a draw out of 4 games so far. Generally seem to perform very well at home. Bit of a fortress there. Up against the Villareal team that have drawn all 3 matches so far. Very frustrating for Unai Emery in the season up until this point. Junior, do you think Villareal can go there and get a win? Or is this going to be another tough afternoon for them?
This is another one of those where I talked myself. I tried to talk myself into Villareal, but I just can't pay this price for a team that again, much like Levante, doesn't really seem to have luck on their side. Every time they go ahead, they seem to concede in the strange. I'm not going to call them strange. I'm going to call them strange for a side of their quality. To be conceding the way they do all the time. Even in the Champions League game against Atalanta the other day, that has to be a disappointing result for them. So until I see them do it, I don't think I can lay points with them on the road, especially against a Mallorca side that's just organized. Mallorca does not give their teams a lot of chances. And as a matter of fact, they pressure their opponents pretty high up the pitch, which might make things uncomfortable for Villareal. Obviously, they have the quality to get it done, but they've just not been consistent enough for me to back them in this spot.
Okay, thanks, Junior. Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I tried to talk myself into betting on Villareal for ages, and I just couldn't oppose Mallorca at home at that price. What do you think, Matt? If you had to say what the result of this game would be?
Yeah, I agree. I would say a draw is probably the favourite. If you look at Villareal, like you say, they've drawn all 3 league matches. They've also drawn the Super Cup, which they then lost on penalties, and then they drew in the Champions League, as Junior mentioned, against Atalanta. So they are the draw specialists, and I can't really see much to change that this weekend. Mallorca, as you say, have been very impressive so far. There was only Athletic Club that beat them last week, and they've been pretty impressive, especially at home. So I think they will certainly they won't lose this one. I fancy a draw.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of betting value on Mallorca this season, especially at home. Barcaman's just on fire, giving out all sorts of picks today. He is going for both teams to score in the Mallorca versus Villareal game. Interesting. I can see that happening. I think Villareal could be a little bit fatigued from their exploits in midweek. It was a pretty grueling fixture against a very talented Atalanta side, whereas Mallorca will be more fired up, fresher, So yeah, I can see them getting on the score sheet in this game. But Villareal do have very dangerous forwards as well. So both teams to score looks good. Okay, next up, very much looking forward to this game. Real Sociedad versus Sevilla. Big fan of Real Sociedad. Love the way they play. Wearing the shirt. Just David Silva pulling the strings in midfield. Oyarzábal, so many quality forwards. Where I really fear for them, Matt, is the defence. I just don't really think they've got the strength at the back to repel a team like Sevilla. What do you think?
It's certainly their weakness on paper, but they have just come off the back of 3 league wins in a row without conceding a goal. So in those terms, they are on a good run. And the key for me here, though, is that they've had 2 days less rest than Sevilla. I thought Sevilla looked quite poor in the Champions League, though. I think they were really lucky to get a draw at home in that one.
Sounds like you need to learn how to take penalties, then. That joke.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was a crazy game, 4 penalties in the first half. But Sevilla, again, they made the changes second half. They went for it, and then they got the man sent off, and they just kind of, in the end, settled for the point. But Eric Lamella's on fire. He looks really interesting. If he starts, I think he's deserved a start now. He's only come off the bench before, but I think he's earned his chance to start. I think if he kind of gets going, I think he could cause Real Sociedad some problems. But then, as you say, I think there will be, again, there's quite a lot of optimism, positivity around Real Sociedad right now. They had a good game yesterday in the Europa League. I know it was only a draw, but I think that's a decent result against an informed PSV Eindhoven. And as you say, 3 games in a row without conceding a goal in the league, and they're pushing on. They've bounced back from their opening day defeat to Barcelona. And you mentioned some of the players they've got, as you say. Oyarzábal is in form. Isak got his first of the season. You've got Sorloth as well in the mix. Porto can get involved. Merino is fantastic in central midfield. So this should be a really good game to watch. So if there's one game you watch this weekend, if it's not Valencia Madrid, then make sure it's this one. In terms of calling it, it's a really tricky one. I would, if anything, I'd actually edge towards the home side in this game.
Oh, interesting. Junior, I believe you've got a play on this one. What are you going for?
Yeah, I've got both teams to score no at -110. For a lot of the things that you guys mentioned, like Matt, sorry, not you, Martin, Matt specifically, when he mentioned that Sociedad's defense has tightened up over the last couple of fixtures. And Sevilla's defense has been really impressive. They really aren't giving teams too many opportunities to nick a goal. So I feel like what's more likely to happen in this game is the team to score first, as long as it's not too early in the match. Probably, I'm not going to say closes up shop, because that's not really the way Sevilla go about their business. But I just think it's going to be a bit of a cagey match. If it was not at Sociedad, I might fancy Sevilla a bit more. But I think Sociedad at home, with Isak getting in on the goals now, Oyarzábal looks as good as he ever has. They're a pretty dangerous side. So I actually do fancy a 1-0, 2-0 Sociedad here. I think Sevilla looked pretty poor in the Champions League, and honestly, I don't think they've been very impressive in more than one game, and that was against Vallecano, so I'm not really sure what to make of that, to be honest with you. So I think that Sociedad really is a live dog here.
Okay, I mean, I'm a massive fan of Real Sociedad. I'm breaking my own heart by betting against them, but I just can't ignore odds of +115 on Sevilla draw no bet. If they draw, I get my money back. When I look at the head-to-heads, it's in their last 7 meetings, there's been 5 wins for Sevilla, 2 draws. Real Sociedad haven't actually beaten Sevilla since 2017. So they really do seem to have the measure of this team. I think Sevilla is stronger in defence, and I think they're equally good in midfield. So I'm leaning towards the away team here, but it's certainly going to be a great spectacle. Next up, we have Real Betis up against Espanyol. Another good game. I like the sound of this one. Real Betis, I thought, were fantastic in midweek, getting the win against Celtic. We all tipped Betis to win on the Europa League show. We gave out nothing but winners on the Europa League show. It was a 100% record, and Betis were one of the teams that pulled it off for us. Have you been impressed so far this season with Betis, Junior? And do you think they can get the win against Espanyol?
Impressed is not the word I would use, because they were actually very disappointing to me in their first few matches. They were having problems converting chances, but they have so much quality in their side that I just feel like it was inevitable that they would get that part of it going. I've gone for the over here at plus 130. I think that I don't trust Betis' backline all the way. I feel like their midfield, as good as Canales and Fekir are going forward, they don't really offer much cover the other way. And I think that leaves their defense a little bit exposed at times. And Espanyol, listen, the best news in the world for Espanyol fans would be that Tomás finally took one of his chances, because he is a natural goal scorer. The chances will continue to come. It's just a matter of him taking them, which I believe he will do. And I think that Espanyol probably get at least one, and I think that Betis get a couple. So, yeah, I've gone for the over here.
Okay. Yeah, he scored a good header, didn't he, Matt de Thomas, from that corner, sort of behind him, which was a good technique. But I think that's the only goal that Espanyol have scored in 4 games so far this season, which, yeah, makes me a little bit worried for them against the Betis team that, yes, they're going to be fatigued, but they're an attacking team. Do you think Espanyol can cause them problems here? I think you're quite an Espanyol fan, aren't you? So I feel like you're going to tell me Espanyol are going to do well.
Well, I mean, I think they can cause them problems. And as Junior rightly says, the back line is their vulnerability and their weak spot. I mean, Celtic were 2 up there. And to be honest, Betis were a shambles in the start of that game. But the key here is that they turned it around and put 4 past them. So they've definitely got it going in attacking sense. You're right. We talk about Alaves with only 1 goal, and that was from a set piece. Well, as you say, exactly the same for Espanyol. It was a fantastic header, but those open play chances, it's just not really coming in enough of a frequency for me. They might get a few more in this game, but as you say, Betis going forward are looking pretty dangerous right now. With Sergio Canales pulling the strings, you've got Borja Iglesias on the score sheet. This is his former club as well, Espanyol. He used to play for them before joining Betis, so This could be an interesting one for him. And Juanmi as well. He got a couple last night. It's no one really kind of tipped him to do anything special this season. He's more of a squad player, but he's really stepping up and making the difference for Betis so far this season. So, yeah, I've gone for the Betis win here. I think they're going to continue that momentum from Thursday night.
Oh, nice. Like it. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going for a Real Betis win. I just look at their attacking options. They look terrific going forwards. I think, Espanyol selling Borja Iglesias was the reason why they went down a couple of seasons ago. And, you put him with Fekir pulling the strings behind him, Canales controlling the game in midfield. They've just got a lot of quality going forwards. I think they can expose the weaknesses in this Espanyol defence, but I'm not sure Espanyol have enough firepower really to win the game. So, yeah, hopefully a Real Betis 2-1 win, something like that. We all get paid out. The next one is the biggest game, I guess you would have to say. I know Sociedad versus Sevilla is a big one, but Valencia versus Real Madrid has to be the headline fixture, really, doesn't it, of the weekend in La Liga Primera. And what a fantastic start to the season that Valencia have made. Both of these teams level at the top of the table on 10 points apiece. I think we all expected Real Madrid to be up there, Matt, but I don't think any of us expected Valencia to be unbeaten so far this campaign, did we?
No, not at all. And the transformation has been emphatic, really. And the form that some of the players are showing, as you mentioned earlier, we've got Gonzalo Guedes. He's in the form of his life. Carlos Soler is improving his scoring rate. And yeah, Valencia, there's just so much to like about them now. With Bordalas, he just knows how to get results. I think we've said this already before on this show many times, but you can back them to be pretty solid at the back, even if on paper their defenders aren't good enough to cope. But they just somehow find a way and grind out defensive performances. But I think this is a really intriguing one because Real Madrid are unbeaten in 22 league matches. So it's a long run they're on of domestic kind of, resolute results. So for me, this is a tough game for Real Madrid as well. They're on fire. They are scoring goals for fun, but they are conceding pretty much every game they're playing. So I think both teams can score in this game, and I like the value of Karim Benzema to score in this one. He's the top scorer so far in the league, and Valencia is one of his top 3 favourite opponents in terms of goal scoring. So he does like to play Los Che. But yeah, in terms of the actual overall result, I'm not convinced Madrid will win this one. I don't think they'll lose either. So again, I think a draw does look quite favourable in my eyes. But yeah, I quite fancy both teams are going to score in this one as well.
Yeah, I say that no one really expected Valencia to be up there at the top of the table at this stage of the season. But actually, Junior, you've been backing Valencia from the start because you're a big fan of the manager and you've made some good profits so far by tipping Valencia.
Yeah, professional result getter, Jorge Bordalas. Listen, it's when I saw that he was handed the job, it was just kind of, obviously we all play Football Manager. You just think, okay, well, this guy gets results with lesser talent. You hand him better talent. The first real opportunity that he's had in his managerial career to coach a club of this stature, even though Valencia aren't the club that they once were, at the beginning of the 2000s. And just look at the quality in his side. We all said, I believe, before the first fixture, that if Valencia is to achieve their potential, someone like Guedes would have to take the next step, and he looks absolutely fantastic. He's scoring all types of goals, but it's also his work rate that looks good. He's just really putting in the effort. It's almost as if he knows that, that there could be a big transfer around the corner because, it's not like Valencia's financial problems are going to go away overnight. So he looks like he's a guy looking to grab the attention of not only other clubs, but his national team coach, who like I mentioned before, doesn't seem to really fancy him as much as he should. And Soler looks like one of the best players in La Liga, period, on the form that he's on. So you combine that with Bordalas' ability to organize a team, combined with Real Madrid's propensity to just allow teams to get quality chances. Because Matt mentioned they've conceded in every game. I mean, they're lucky they haven't conceded more. I feel like if some of those teams were a bit more clinical, they would not be at the top of the table. But hats off to them, because going forward, obviously, this new look Vinicius Jr., who is the guy that they were promised, has finally, again, I hate to say that about Vinicius Jr. because I feel like people don't really pay attention to some of these players before they come to Europe. I don't think Vinicius Jr. had 20 professional matches before he went to Real Madrid, literally, because I used to watch his team Flamengo, and he wasn't even a regular starter there. So he was always going to need time to become the player that you're seeing now. Hopefully he can maintain that form, but most of their guys are clicking. They just really, really need to offer Casemiro a little bit more assistance in terms of, protecting the back four, because they still look a bit shaky. Every single game, you see a Real Madrid defender literally throwing his hands up in the air and like, what the hell are we doing out here? That body language it's hard to miss, and it's for a reason, because they just concede so many chances. I think I've talked long enough. I've got Valencia, no bet. Sorry, double chance, in case you're wondering why I'm selling Valencia so hard right now.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks, Junior. I'm just going to go back in the comments to, I figured out what JP Lambert is asking. So you're saying, what does the plus and the minus mean? As in, what is plus 130, plus 130? So those are American odds. We have a lot of viewers in the United States, so we often display our odds in the American format. So plus 130 means that if you bet $100, you're going to make a $130 profit. You don't actually have to bet $100. You can bet whatever you like. That's just a guide. So you could bet $20 and then you would make a $26 profit on that bet. If it starts with a minus, that tells you how much you need to wager in order to make a $100 profit. So if something starts with a minus, it's odds on. If it starts with a plus, it's got longer odds, and that could be seen as an underdog. That's basically how it goes. So if it's plus 130, if you're in Europe, that would be 2.3 in decimal odds. Or if you're in the UK, it would be 13 to 10 in fractional odds. I hope that sort of explained it. If you go over to sportsbookreview.com, there's all sorts of bet calculators there. You can convert from one type of odds to another. You can work out the potential profit that you'll make with each wager at each set of odds. But basically, plus 100 is about even money. You double your money. Anything with a minus, you get a bit less than your stake, your risk amount. And anything with a plus, you get more than double your money, basically. So there you go. Final game, Barcelona versus Granada. Now, we were talking quite a lot before the game about Barcelona. All this sort of suggestions that they're going to get rid of Ronald Koeman. Don't really see what more he could have done in the opening weeks of the season. You're not going to beat Bayern Munich after selling all the players that they sold. There's all this talk of Antonio Conte coming in and taking the reins. Conte's a born winner. He's going to want to go into a squad where there's lots of money, lots of good players there already. I can't see him going and taking the reins against the Barcelona team that are very, very unlikely to win any silverware this season. But you said, Junior, Granada, possibly the worst defence in Spanish football right now. Does that mean you think that Barcelona can get a win in this one?
I would say if they don't, you probably see the end of Koeman. And the only reason he would stick around is just lack of other options, because all this Antonio Conte talk, I don't know if people pay attention. Antonio Conte is not a guy that usually gets along with board members. And in Barcelona, if you're going to have problem with the board, you're not going to last too long. So I see that as a nightmare matchup as far as his personality and just the situation that Barcelona find themselves in. He'd have to be walking in, like you mentioned, to a winning. Well, first of all, just a side with a winning mentality, period. But this is not the type of side that he would walk into, because I don't see how their roster fits the way that he likes to play football, first of all. So it just doesn't make sense to me on any level at all. Yeah. As for the Bayern game, that's why I can't possibly bet on Barcelona. I like to think of myself as a bit of a body language expert. Their body language looks like they're just a defeated side. It doesn't mean they can't nick a result, but I'm not investing, especially at these prices, on a team that just looks devoid of ideas. I think it's very easy to blame Koeman. Koeman is not the reason that, guys like Sergio Busquets and Piqué and Alaba, I'm not going to say they look old, but do they look spry to you? Do they look, these are guys that have won everything on the planet that there is to win in the game. So it just might be time to, just move on from some of these players. This is not the year to be investing in Barcelona on a regular basis, especially as long as these prices continue to remain so ridiculously high.
No, that's the problem, and they've worked themselves to the bone over the years. The likes of Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets playing for Guardiola, playing for Enrique. Like you say, they've won everything there is to win, but they're on pretty high contracts, aren't they? That Bartomeu put them on. So no one's going to come in and take them off their hands, which is what leaves Barcelona in such a mess. It was plus 105 I got on Bayern Munich to beat Barcelona in midweek. It's like the easiest money I think I'll ever make in my life. But Matt, do you think they can? Obviously, Granada, they're not Bayern Munich, are they? Do you think this is a game that Barcelona can go and win?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with what you're saying about Antonio Conte. For me, that's just an absolute non-starter. I'm not sure where those links have even come from. Whether it's just the pressure on Koeman, I don't know. But as you kind of hinted at in your introduction to this game, Barca are kind of where we expect them to be. We didn't expect them to beat Bayern. They should probably still just about qualify from the group. And in the league, they've got the points on the board. Okay, they haven't always convinced, but they've got 7 points from 9. So I think domestically they could still be kind of in the mix for quite a while. They do have some talent. Memphis he's hit the ground running, and he's in real form, especially coming off the international break with the Netherlands as well. He got a hat trick there. So he's enjoying his time at Barca. Whether that'll last for too much longer, we don't know. But for now, he's in form, and I do think they will beat Granada this Monday. Interestingly, Granada, they haven't won a game in La Liga since visiting Camp Nou last season. So this very fixture was the last time they've actually won a league game. That was at the back end of the season. Barca would have gone top had they won that game, but they inexplicably lost 2-1. And yeah, Granada haven't won a game since, 6 defeats and 3 draws. And of course, Diego Martinez has left. He's a massive loss for them. You can't really understate how important he was to that club. So they're in a rebuilding phase. And yeah, I think this game comes a bit too soon for them. So I would have Barca just to win this one.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Yeah, I think Barcelona could emerge as a decent team further down the line when Ansu Fati comes back, if Dembele hits a bit of form. If them two play up front with Memphis, I know they're missing a focal point in attack, but they're kind of 3 wingers, really. But if they could find a bit of chemistry with those 3 up top, and you've got Pedri and De Jong in midfield, I can see them scoring a lot of goals this season. Defensively, they worry me a lot. Just don't really seem to have the quality back there. So, yeah, I do still think it could be a long old season. I think it would be an achievement for them really to finish top 4. But great, thanks both for your analysis of all of those games. Esteban, could you please bring up the picks? We'll read them out to our lovely viewers. I'm going for Sevilla draw no bet at +115. I'm also going for Real Betis just to win at +108. And I've got Real Madrid to win at -104. I just can't look past them. Matt?
Yeah, I've gone for the Rayo draw double chance. As I say, I think there's massive pressure on Getafe. I think Michel could be out of a job if they lose this game. And I think Rayo are in enough form to warrant them to get a result at home. So I'm going for that. I think Benzema, anytime goal scorer, I think that's some fairly decent value there. He's in form and he likes to play against these opponents. I've gone for the Betis win, +108. I think that's a decent one. It won't be easy for them, as we've said. They could be cause problems defensively, but I think they've got enough firepower and momentum to get that one done. And yeah, I've gone for Barca. I know the odds are pretty awful there, but I think on Monday night, I think they'll get the job done against Granada.
Yeah, maybe throw in like a Barcelona and over 2.5 goals if you think it's going to be a high-scoring one, or a Barcelona and under 3.5 if you think it's going to be a narrow one or something like that for a bit more value. Maybe Barcelona half-time, full-time. Junior, what are you going for?
Yeah, I've got Valencia draw double chance. I think they can really nick a result here. I think the draw is probably more likely, but I think they can do well in that situation. Same thing with Bilbao. Bilbao draw double chance. Just the way they look, I don't see any reason why they couldn't get a result. Celta Vigo needs a result. Anything less than a win for them, to me, in this situation would be a disaster. So at -109, I really love that price. Betis Espanyol, I really love the +230. Betis, the way that their offense looks, especially because, like Matt said, they're getting goals from Juanmi, they're getting goals from several different places, creating tons of chances. And I think Espanyol could at least nick one. They haven't been doing it so far, but I think they're good for 1 goal at least in that fixture. And finally, Sevilla Sociedad. I'm predicting a 1-0, 2-0 Sociedad upset.
Oh, interesting. Like,
so sorry. I didn't say both teams to score no. It's the actual bet.
Yeah. Well, I hope both teams score no, and it's Sevilla that go on and win the game. I do love Sociedad, but I'm betting against them this weekend. Sorry, guys. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks all in the chat as well. Thanks for all the great tips and picks that you've been giving us. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Junior, for joining me today. And hope you all enjoy games over the course of the weekend. Hope you have lots of winners. We've got 22 likes already, so please give us a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Then you'll know every time we're about to start filming about all the sports we cover here at SBR. And do head on over to sportsbookreview.com to read lots of articles from our pro handicappers, sportsbook reviews. Use those bet calculators that I mentioned. You'll find all sorts of news, insight and analysis there. So over you go. Thanks, guys. See you next time.